Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to ZOP Gaming Channel. I'm Tim Green. I'm one of the voices of As the Buckle Turns. This is ZOP Gaming's Fantasy Booking AEW. Probably should change the name. I know I say that every week, but it is a lot. We have a stacked show for you today, but let's dive into today's card because we have a stacked card. Opening the show, we have the AEW World Tag Team Champions, the Best Friends, taking on Santana and Ortiz of the Inner Circle. We have match 4 of the Best 7 series between MJF and Jungle Boy. We have the AEW World Champion Jon Moxley will be in action taking on Eddie Edwards. And then we also have the final 2 matchups in the AEW World Women's Tag Team Championship Tournament. The first matchup being of Raving, Goths, Priscilla, Kelley, and Priestley taking on Wyld of Zaya Brookside and Candy Floss. And in the main event matchup, we have Supremacy, Mercedes Banks, and Bayley Rose taking on the Magical Girls of Riho and Sakazaki. Hope I said that correctly. Like I said, we have a stacked card, ladies and gentlemen, and that's not touching on other matches we have on the show. So let's hit that intro and dive into the matchup. Are you ready? That I just want to refresh you in case you didn't see the surprise behind the scenes episode from this past Monday where I made a boo-boo and I had to fix it. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't catch it, AEW has purchased Ring of Honor, well, in the game. So just a quick recap, I made some boo-boos in my database for the game that I was playing in the first episode of 2020 that I needed to go fix because of storylines because I didn't want to change. And I decided to give Ring of Honor and a few other companies a little bit more money. But for Ring of Honor, I accidentally hit a negative mark and gave them negative $10 million. So to fix it, I bought them. And they are now AEW's developmental brand. Seeing a hair in my eye. There we go. Yes, they are still alive. They're kicking. But just so you know, I just want to give a recap on that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, in our first matchup, we have the AEW World Champion Tag Team Champions Best Friends taking on Santana and Ortiz. In a good matchup, the Best Friends defeat Santana and Ortiz in 14 minutes and 45 seconds when Chuck Taylor pins Ortiz with the awful waffle. And this is number 1 defense of the AEW Tag Team Championships for the Best Friends. Trent Beretta had an in-ring performance of 69, Chuck Taylor had a 66, Santana had a 69, and Ortiz had a 66. So interesting bouncing out between those two teams. The best freshly squeezed Inner Circle Friends storyline has advanced but no heat gained. Oh well, Chuck Taylor seemed off his game, and we got a 64 overall for this matchup, which I wish was higher, but it's good. Because the color coding here, if it looks green-ish to me, a pale green, I guess, this means it's good. It's right around what they were getting in 2016, so I'm happy with that. Though I do wish it was a little bit higher. But, well, the Best Friends celebrate their success. Best Friends celebrate their successfully defending the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Chris Jericho and Jake Hager attack out of nowhere and beat them down. Santana and Ortiz recover from their matchup and join in the beatdown. Orange Cassidy runs out with a kendo stick in hand and when Sammy Guevara attacks out of nowhere. Sammy Guevara drags Cassidy to the ring, to the Inner Circle, pulls over the Best Friends. Santana and Ortiz grab the Tag Team Championships and jump them over their shoulders. So it looks like the Inner Circle are not done with the Best Friends, especially Santana and Ortiz, who look like they want those Tag Team Championships, which they should because they're one of the best tag teams out there. So the best freshly squeezed Inner Circle Friends storyline advanced again, no heat gained. God damn it. Not surprised, Orange Cassidy benefited from groundwork of public support, and we got a 66 for the segment, which is still pretty good. So it just helps boost there, but it's going to be interesting to see where do we go with this. The Best Friends have defeated Santana and Ortiz for the titles. What about Jericho and Cassidy. I wonder. Time will tell. And Nyla Rose takes on Brooke Adams in an extremely short match. Brooke Adams defeats Nyla Rose in 4 minutes and 53 seconds by pinfall with a Test shocker. Nyla Rose had an in-ring performance of 49. Brooke Adams had a 63. Nyla Rose, the Beast, in quotes, storyline would advance, but no heat. What is it with no heat? Nyla Rose, Brooke Adams have good chemistry. The announcing and commentary lifted and gave it a boost, which is good, with a 43 for the match segment. I wish it was higher. It's the women's division. We do have to work to get them up, but I think this should have been a little higher, but it's not like it's red, the color coding, so which is good, so it's still acceptable, but I do wish this was higher. But again, the work has got to get put in to make this women's division something. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with Nyla Rose, though. She just seems to be off her game. But let's move on. And match 4 of the best of 7 series, MJF taking on Jungle Boy, and about that had good heat and decent wrestling. MJF defeats Jungle Boy in 12 minutes and 23 seconds by pinfall with a Swanton Bomb following the interference from Wardlow. I definitely forgot to change MJF's moveset, so I'll have to do that at some point. But this makes MJF even with Jungle Boy 2-2 in the best of 7 series. MJF had an in-ring performance of 63. Jungle Boy had an in-ring performance of 57. The better than you storyline of the segment advanced but lost heat, which is stupid. And we got a 57 here. This should have been higher. This should be in the 60s because they actually had matches in the 60s, and I think they've had at least one segment in the 70s, I believe. But I'll take what it is, but I do wish this was higher. There are 3 matches left, and the final match happens at All Out. So with 3 weeks left, we'll be having the final 2 of the final matches over the next 2 weeks. But who will be leading going forward? Who will be the one who has to make up ground? That will be the question to answer. But we'll find out in time. Moving on. An extremely short match, Tessa Blanchard defeats Emmy Sakura in 5 minutes and 7 seconds by pinfall. Tessa Blanchard had an in-ring performance of 73. Emmy Sakura had an in-ring performance of 51. And the match quality and commentary boosted the matchup. And Tessa Blanchard benefited from a ground of public support. I had to check something, but I forgot. I can't remember what the match segment was, but it was probably not what I wanted. But it was just there to get Tessa another win. Next, we have the AEW World Women's Tag Team Championship Tournament. So far, we've had Enlivid defeat the Role Models and Age of Beauty defeat Big Steels. The first of 2 tournament matchups tonight is Raving Goths taking on Wyld, and that is next. The Raving Goths in a decent match defeat Wyld in 12 minutes and 46 seconds when Priscilla Kelley submitted Zaya Brookside with a Tilt-A-Whirl Dragon Sleeper. The in-ring performances were for Priscilla Kelley as a 53, 56 for B. Priestley, 54 for Zaya Brookside, and 53 for Candy Floss. This advanced the AEW World Women's Tag Team Championship Tournament and advanced the segment, which is good. So that's good. And the 51 for this segment is pretty good for who's involved, so I'll take it. But yeah, I do wish this was a little bit higher. Like 55 would have been better, I think. But again, it could be a lot worse. So, but that means the Raving Goths advance to the semifinals. We will have the final matchup with Supremacy taking on the Magic Girls in the main event matchup spot. We have Kenny Omega taking on Brian Pillman Jr. and about that had great heat and good wrestling. Brian Pillman Jr. defeated Kenny Omega in 12 minutes and 18 seconds by pinfall with a surprise roll-up. The most devastating move in all of pro wrestling. Wow, Kenny is just not having a good time since this Hangman's turn. Man. But Kenny Omega had an in-ring performance of 86. Pillman had 53, which is still pretty good. And Kenny Omega has benefited from a ground of public support, which is good, leading to a 67, which is actually really good. So I'm happy with this here. And the question is, what is going on with Kenny Omega? Only time will tell. The Young Bucks backstage looking for the FTR. Matt Jackson looks in the locker room and posts and spots them. Nick, I found them. They're in the locker room. Dax and Cash are annoyed, being disturbed. Nick joins his brother. Nick, now that we've found you, we have a proposition for you. Dax, let me guess, you want to have a stipulation for the match. Cash, that will not happen. It will be a standard tag team rules, even with the tag ropes. Matt and Nick look to each other. Matt, we know. When we prove we are better, we want you to have no excuses. Nick, our proposition is that next week we pick your opponents. Then the following week you pick ours. Dax and Cash look to each other. Cash, sounds good. Dax, you better look high and low for our great tag team because we will. So next week, ladies and gentlemen, as part of the build to their matchup all out, the Young Bucks will be picking FTR's opponent. Just so you know, it is who they will be picking is the reason why I had to go back and rebuild my database because I forgot to take his hiatus. I had to remove his hiatus so I could sign him. Because in 2016, at this time, a certain person came available who was on hiatus, and I signed him, and put them together with a person to face the FTR. And I decided I did not want to change that because of who this team is, not just who I signed, but the team. I'm like, that will work really well for my tag team division. I'm happy with this, and I think you'll be happy with the overall who comes out. At least I hope. The Elite Fracture storyline advanced, but lost heat. That's stupid. What is it with the Matt and Jackson not doing well off script? That's bullshit. They both have benefited from ground support. Kelly Blanchard did well with Dax and Cash, and we got a 72 for the match rating, which is really good. I actually think that's the exact same rating we got before, so it just makes me happy. If it went up, it would have been really good, but I'm almost positive that it was a 72. So it's still great, and as you can see, it's bright green, so it's a good segment. But we'll see next week who they pick. Moving on. We have Jon Moxley taking on Eddie Edwards. In a good matchup, Jon Moxley defeats Eddie Edwards in 13 minutes and 2 seconds by pinfall with a Death Rider. Jon Moxley had an in-ring performance of 81. Eddie Edwards had an in-ring performance of 58. They announced some quality lift to the match, and Jon Moxley benefited from ground on public support. Yada, 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 not surprised. And a 69 for this, which is great for Eddie Edwards, who's someone I do want to push in the singles division. And this is just having a great match with the world champion is great. So that will definitely help there. And it also gives Moxley back a win from his loss to Brian Cage and Ricky Stark in the tag match with Darby Allin last week. So I'm definitely happy here. But speaking of Brian Cage, Jon Moxley celebrates his win and his music cuts off. Brian Cage's music hits. Out he comes with Taz and stands on the stage. Jon shows interest of them coming out and watches them. Taz, Jon, congratulations on recovering your loss from last week. Now it's time for Cage to get what he came to AEW to do. Capture the World Championship. Jon, entertained by this idea, he motions for Cage to come get it. Cage starts towards the ring, but Taz stops him. Taz, Cage is clearly the number one contender, especially after what he did to Darby Allin last week. So what do you say? Or does he need to come down there and give you motivation? Jon laughs and asks for a mic. Jon, Taz, you like to run your mouth for someone who can't back it up anymore. Fans respond with, "Oh!" Jon, as for your boy wanting a world championship, sure, he can have one at All Out. The fans cheer. Jon says, Jon, see you then. Jon drops the mic and exits the ring and leaves through the fans. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we now know that our main event will be Jon Moxley defending the AEW World Championship against Brian Cage. But something tells me it's not going to be a repeat of what they had at Fyter Fest. Just my opinion. And then we had the storyline advance, but no heat. I don't know why. Jon Moxley was superb. Taz did well. Jon Moxley, ground public support, and a 68, which was right around what they were doing in 2016 game. Though I do wish this was in the 70s. but I will still take it because it's what they were getting in the 60s. We have our final matchup in the AEW World Women's Tag Team Championship. Earlier in the night, we had Raving Goths defeat Wyld. We have Supremacy taking on the Magical Girls, who will be the final team to reach the semifinals of the Women's Tag Team Championship tournament. Let's find out. To our main event matchup. In a good matchup, the Magical Girls defeat Supremacy in 19 minutes and 44 seconds when Riho pins Bayley Rose with a magic carpet ride after a distraction from Hikaru Shida. This matchup was part of the AEW World Tag Team Championship tournament, which is good. Mercedes Banks had an in-ring performance of 77, Bayley had 80, Sakazaki had a 56, Riho had a 66. The Supremacy storyline segment advanced but lost heat, which is stupid. The Tag Team Championship tournament advanced but gained heat. Yes, that's good. Which got us a 64. We now know it is the Magical Girls who are advancing to the semifinals. Next week, we will have the Raving Goths taking on Livid. And then in week 4, it'll be the Magical Girls taking on Age of Beauty. By then, we will know who will be facing off for the AEW World Women's Tag Team Championships at All Out. Let's move on to the final segment. In our main event segment, Hangman Page music hits and he walks out to the ring that has been set up for a celebration. Hangman shows off the TNT Championship around his waist and he enters the ring. Hangman grabs a cold beer, pops it, and downs it. Hangman, that feels good, especially now that I have proven what I've known all this time. I am a champion, and all by myself. Fans boo and chant for Cody. Hangman, shut up. I'm speaking and you will show me respect a champion deserves. Fans get louder. Cody's music hits and he comes out. Hangman is not happy to see him. Hangman, no, go backstage. This is my time. Cody continues down, gets a mic from Justin Roberts and enters the ring. Hangman, you do not get to interrupt my time. You are no longer. Cody, shut up. Drink your damn beer. Fans cheer. Hangman is pissed. He takes a sip of another beer. Cody goes to speak, but drops the mic and attacks. He gets a few shots in before clearing Hangman out of the ring. So, it looks like Hangman and Cody are not done with each other. I mean, Hangman beat Cody clean in a hardcore matchup that Cody wanted. I don't know. Does he have the right to challenge for another challenge for the TNT Championship right off the bat? Should he get an automatic championship rematch clause? Or should he have to earn it? I don't know. But this matchup did advance the storyline, and no heat gain, unfortunately. Hangman clearly enjoyed going off script very well. Cody benefited from ground public support. And we got 78 for this segment, which is the highest of the night, which I'm very happy for. But I hope you did enjoy this show. We are so much closer to All Out now. Let me know down in the comment section what you think of this show. Who do you think is going to do the mystery tag team to take on the FTR next week? What is going on with Kenny Omega? And who will be the final two teams in the AEW World Women's Tag Team Championship? I'm pretty sure everyone thought Sasha or Mercedes Banks and Bayley Rose were going to be the ones who won the belts, but they're out. Who's going to walk away with those belts at All Out? Let me know that down in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed this video. You've made it to the end, so please give this video a thumbs up. You're clearly liking what you're watching with this fantasy booking. And if you enjoyed this video so much, please feel free to share it on your social media. It's a great way to help support ZOP Gaming. And since you're going to give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and turn on all notifications so you know when all ZOP Gaming Fantasy Booking and other ZOP gaming content go live. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day, and I'll chat with you in my next video. Bye!